Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are out there in this wonderful, crazy world. We're here for another episode of our podcast. This is the Train Talk from Milepost 141, the SoundTraxx Soundbites podcast. And this time we're actually episode 48 in total. This is season 3, episode number 13.
Wow, there you go.
So been doing it for a little bit of time.
Proto 48.
There you go, Proto 48, podcast 48.
That's right.
You're just a big foamer, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. So anyway, with this, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Heading into, we've got coming up very soon, the American 4th of July. And
Right.
if any of you guys have been paying attention, this is the America's 250.
Right.
And this is the last podcast that we're shooting before that happens.
Right.
So, of course, we got to have our wonderful American flag out there. Rah, rah, wave for the flag.
Oh, glory.
Oh, glory. 250 years, that's a pretty big step.
It is. Milestone, I guess in the world, in the world order, I guess, that we're finally coming of age as a country. We're relatively, as far as a country goes, we're relatively young.
Yeah.
When it comes to other world powers.
Correct. Absolutely. So, but it's always good to have those milestones, and and this is one of the big things. Is we're one big crazy family. America's our home.
Right.
We're one big crazy family. We don't always all get along.
Right.
But in the end, we're all Americans. We're all brothers. We're all sisters in this great crazy world.
Right.
Here, united by one love for our home country.
Right.
So
that's correct.
No politics. No nothing involved. Just proud to be an American.
Right. Absolutely.
So, with that. 4th of July is coming up.
Yep, can't wait. It's going to be nice.
And what's interesting is there's actually been a lot of the railroads have actually done special paint jobs.
Very nice, too.
Very nice looking paint jobs.
Reminds me of, 1976,
Yeah.
paint schemes back then.
Where are you pointing at? That's a BNSF engine.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just using hand gestures.
There you go.
Public speaking. It reminds me of 76. A lot of the paint schemes, especially I think it's BNSF. They had a really nice one. Reminded me of several paint schemes from 1976.
Yeah, and as of this shooting last week, CSX just released a whole bunch of them too, and Norfolk Southern has some patriotic ones. So it's really cool seeing all of them.
And then the big boys traveling across the country in celebration. I think they do have a red, white, and blue paint engine as well, trailing behind it. If not,
that's what I think. The Norfolk Southern one is part of that. One of theirs is part of that.
And
entourage.
the big boys flying flags. I think on the pilot of it.
Yep.
Not the cow catcher on the big boy. If the big boy had a cow, it would make it hamburger. But it's a pilot.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's a pilot.
So, but lots of cool stuff. And then what's really been fascinating for me, I know you follow, I can't think of his name right this second, the modern Mopac guy. Gary, or...
Brian Bates.
Brian, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
done some great AI stuff. I mean, it's really good.
He's got some really cool paint schemes on his Mopac modeling, or modern Mopac modeling, modern Mopac Facebook page.
Yeah, and
whatever it is.
Guys out there, I know because Brian mentions this too when he talks to me on the phone and stuff. It's AI, so it isn't. He doesn't think it's real. He makes those himself, actually, which he does a great job with them.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. One of my favorite ones just popped up last week. It was the Virginia and Ohio. Make as if they had done a 250.
Yeah.
So it was actually really cool seeing all the different colors. He did A&M. Of course, he's done chassis, Western Maryland, all of those. So it's really kind of cool to see what can be done.
And he's trying to get. I think he's trying to get every state. So if he can, or every railroad.
Every railroad. So it's really fun, and it's funny. The purists are kind of. We can't have that, but
they'll say like that never happened. Like he's like, I know.
But it's fun playing what if.
Yeah, and he's really good at that. Because I tell you what, as far as his paint scheme for his railroad and his concept that he models, I mean, it's really kind of a neat thing to follow along. And if you didn't know that, you would think like, wow, this is a really cool paint scheme. Because I mean, like I said, he does a good job with it. And shout out to Brian.
Yep, very much so. And I'm sorry I missed your name. I was getting confused with another gentleman I talk to regularly. So, but Brian,
Bates.
Good work. Yeah,
Yep.
We always
He's a big
appreciate
SoundTraxx guy too, so we
Yep.
also appreciate that as well, Brian.
Yep, absolutely. So, well, with that, let's talk about models. So I've got my tier 4 here. I didn't have, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it looks good too.
I'm just doing this to kind of tease up a little bit.
Right.
For those of you guys watching on video, I'm using it as a view block intentionally.
Yeah.
I've been kind of alluding to.
It looks great too, George.
Yeah, this is one I've had this one for a couple years. It's got Blunami, of course.
Right.
But I've been using it for the dive through the app, working through the app settings and all the things you can do with the app and everything. So
Is this one with 4 speakers in it?
yes, correct.
Yeah.
This is an Intermountain Tier 4 Gevo, and one of the reasons I picked that particular one is because it had real chain on it.
Right.
So, but we're not here to talk about that one.
No.
Let's talk about what's behind it.
It looks great.
This is the mystery project I've been talking about and kind of dropping some hints, some breadcrumbs.
Right.
And some of you guys got it on the first one when I showed a very close-up view of the front of this thing.
Yeah. People really dialed in on that. Guy got it the first trip.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way for those of you guys watching on video, and then we'll see what it looks like.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
This is the Missouri Pacific 1976. This was their Bicentennial locomotive.
Yep.
This started up. Honestly, I had no intention whatsoever of doing this engine, not even in the least. But what happened was, and you and I were talking about this not long ago, is that we found a picture that credited the date as August of '78.
Right.
Which is around the time frame I'm modeling. And so I was like, well, if this thing still existed in this paint scheme in 1978, well, then let's jump on board the 250th anniversary bandwagon and paint one up and have it with me and run it as a special unit, stick it in some of the regular consists in 1978.
I could see Mopac letting it run for 2 years like that because they didn't want to spend any extra money they had more than they had to on paint.
Right.
Because they had to repaint it because it's a beautiful job though, excellent job on it. Dynacelles these are scratch built parts of these where George had to make. He took apart and cut it down and then created the Dynacell look that the Mopac had on their rebuilt. This is one that's got the 4 stacks added to it and was shopped and has the Dynacell paper air filter box in it.
Yeah, they were. I think you and I were talking about this. They went through the roster to try to find the best units to do the Bicentennial.
Right. They
did the Jeep 18 and did the Jeep 7. The Jeep 7 was 1776, and then of course this one's 1976.
Yep.
Now the 1776 was wrecked early on.
Yeah.
I think it didn't even survive past 76, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. I think you're right.
And
it had it was the next CNEI engine.
Yeah.
Like you said, and it didn't last long. This one actually had a lot more longevity to it.
Yeah, and they eventually repainted it to the regular blue.
Right.
And then eventually traded in.
Right. I think these were all traded in on SD50s whenever in like '84.
Yeah, it was in early 80s like that. I don't remember exactly.
But I remember them in West Frankfurt, GP18s, and this one too, because they came through system-wide, but that was in the 70s. But in the early 80s, there was a couple of these still floating around on the mine branches. They still used them down there too. So they were good mine power for them. And again, a short wheelbase Jeep is what the Trainmaster down there loved. But as far as this thing goes, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah,
this started life as one of those old gold box Proto 2000 GP18s, and I have 4 of them, and I had these plans to do this, but when I took them apart and cleaned it up, the shell or the cab just disintegrated. Because if you remember, these gold box had the opening cab doors and all of that on it, and so they were very brittle.
Right.
And they pretty much used a tube of toothpaste to glue those cabs into place. It was amazing how much work it took to get that cab out of there. But there was no saving them.
No, and they used the same kind of toothpaste on the gearboxes too.
Yeah.
I mean, after like 10 years of sitting there, they turn into glue. You gotta break them loose.
So anyway, I had I was doing some installations for a friend of mine, Jimmy Booth, who's the owner of PBL.
Right.
PBL Locomotives, very, very finely detailed SN3 stuff. Oh my God, they're beautiful work. And he's also been involved in a lot of brass kits and models over the years.
High-tech details.
High-tech details as Jimmy Booth. But anyway, I was doing some installations for him, and as my quote-unquote payment, he 3D printed a cab. and I have not been able to find a low nose GP18 cab.
Right.
You can find all the high hood replacements all day long,
Right.
but the low hood needed to be done. So he's been, he 3D printed this for me a while back. And honestly, it took 2.5 years to get it. And I'm not trying to knock Jimmy. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he was in town this past week as of this shooting, delivering the 223 for a rebuild here in Durango. So that was good to see him.
Yep.
But anyway, 3D printed the cab, and then once I had that, it was just like, okay, now I want to go. And striking while, like I said, while the iron's hot, America 250, let's do a Bicentennial unit.
Perfect.
So I want to thank Nathan Obermeyer for finding me the decals, because when I went to look, Microscale was sold out of them. And they said, well, we'll put you down on the wish list. So I'm sure I'll buy them anyway. But Nathan came up jumped up and said, hey, I think I got a set I've been trying to get rid of. And so I got them from him, and I was able to do this pretty quickly, actually, really considering how much work was put into it.
Yep.
Because, this being a Proto 2000, I replaced all the lift rings with my stash of brass detail associates.
Yeah.
And then the lift ring, or the grab irons, are all they're either a mix of the old detail associates wire or the Tichy.
Right.
Because I just threw them all in the same pile since they're all 18-inch.
They got the new style mount too that they sit into, right?
Yes. So this was another thing that Jimmy has in his PBL line, but he has it for SN3. But he said a lot of HO diesel modelers use it, and it's there's like a little nut bolt washer casting that sits down over the wire formed grab, so it creates. And it filled that gap because there was a giant hole where that little wire stuck in.
Right.
And so while that was my biggest holdup, and he goes, "Oh, I got you, I got this," and he sent these to me. I was like, "Oh, that solves the problem."
Yeah, they look fantastic. And
so
really, because the original grab irons on there were plastic when Proto brought these out, which they were to give Proto. I don't know if anybody's around anymore to take credit, but they did a great job. This is one of the most highly detailed engines ever that came out ready to run.
Amazingly, yes.
So George replaced these grab irons on here with actual metal grab irons, and then the nut bolt washer fitting in there, because otherwise that was all part of that one plastic piece.
Yeah, it was all one big casting that fit in there, and the plastic grab irons were thick. I mean, by comparison to the fine wire.
Yeah, beautiful.
So I did those. It's got the Gotham Rail and Marine. You and I've talked about these before on this show. The spark arresters, so with the see-through metal on them.
Yep, looks fantastic.
I've got A-line windshield wipers on it, and put those on there. I've actually got Athearn single-note air horns, the Details West firecracker antenna, and then what I did is I bought the Detail Associates high stand MU cables, and then drilled them out and put my magnet in there, so it's there for the magnetic MU cables.
Right.
I put the Detail Associates, the coupler cut bar across the front and the back.
Yep.
It's got a Details West plow, 155 plow on the front, and then of course I've got my magnetic air hoses for the airline, and then the MU hoses are actually the Details West white metal hose casting. They're the 3 hose clusters.
Yep.
And put that in there. Now, there was some creativity in this. There is actually a cab interior, and I reached out to our friends at Athearn, and I managed to get their high hood GP18 cab interior, and it fit just about perfect inside of there. So drilled a couple of holes into the weight and fit it down in there, and stuck it in, and so that fits in there. So there's a crew in there.
Yep.
And then the fuel tanks, actually, I had to take 2 of them and kit bash them together to give it the full length, because the Mopac, the original GP18s, had the 2 air tanks behind the fuel tank, but the MOP went for the longer extended fuel, the size of the tank.
Yeah, it's almost like a GP20, or it's got like a GP20 sill and almost like a GP35 fuel tank underneath it.
Yep, correct. And so we've got that in there, and then the air tanks, for whatever reason, when I kept looking at the ones that are commercially available, they looked like they were way too big. They looked like they stuck out past the frame. So I ended up just scratch building those out of some styrene tubing.
Yep.
Put those on there, and then bent some wire for the pipes that you can see over the Jeep 18 tanks.
And the styrene for the wrapping around them too. The
strapping on there. That's
Yep.
just a piece of styrene wrapped
Yep.
around it.
Yep. Just old school modeling, folks.
Yeah. So one of the biggest challenges came when it come to the couplers. I didn't much care for the way the coupler boxes looked because if you guys remember, there was this big giant opening in the frame because we had these big frames that stuck out.
Yep.
And they mounted fine.
Yeah.
But they really didn't look good. So I went and searched, and I found actually ended up using some coupler boxes I got from Scale Trains, and then mounted some styrene under the walkway.
Yeah.
And then mounted the coupler boxes in. So I've got that nice small
looks
coupler
great.
box look to the front.
Really
of it.
adds to the pilot on this engine because, like you're saying, the original one was designed probably, I think, for horn hook couplers. They came with those.
Correct.
And this one actually has much closer to scale, if you want to call it semi-scale. But if you
Yeah.
can see it, when you see it up close, I mean, you really.
Yeah, for those of you watching on video, we've been putting pictures in on this.
Yeah.
So you guys can go back, if you're listening on audio, go back and watch the video version so you can see a whole bunch of the pictures and the detail of it.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, that really just kind of cinched the pilots down for you, making it look authentic. And, I mean, basically close to scale, the closer you're going to get. And to me, you got to go semi-scale because you want your stuff to operate. Nothing against, actual exact scale, but I've put those on before, and they are.
Oh yeah,
they limit your couple. Not that I run on 18-inch radius curves, I don't. But I mean, but the thing is you still want it to operate too. So it looks.
Yeah, what was the couplers that were the close, really the scale ones? Sergeant couplers.
Yeah, those were great. But if you put those on there just for pictures, this thing would. I mean, you could take some macro shots. This thing would look like the real thing.
We'll put AI behind it.
Yeah, make everybody Facebook just lose their mind. That never happened.
Yeah. Anyway, I upgraded the screens on the side here with the Plano products.
Yes.
And I bought the inner shutters and the outer screens just to make sure it was as much detail as I could. And really there wasn't many detail parts that I left off. What was really nice about these models is they came with the deck plating texture, and then they actually had see-through steps. So you had the holes, so you don't need to go and get the etched metal kits.
Right.
They really were, the Proto 2000s really were way ahead of their time.
They were the precursor to what we see today.
Yeah.
And they had the classic Catherine drive in them. And they, like I said, they're packed full of grease. I mean, half of their weight was probably grease, but I mean, they were heavy. They pulled a lot of cars, and we loved them.
So on this one, to do the mechanism and everything, of course, you take the gears apart, you soak them in alcohol and rubbing alcohol, and clean them with some dish soap to get all that oil and grease out of there. Because Dawn takes grease out of your way.
It does. It's good stuff.
So you clean all that stuff up and you put it back together. And I use some of Jimmy's synthetic at PBL. You can get this synthetic gear lube. Oh man, that stuff is fantastic. It makes it nice and quiet, and we'll run it here in a minute to show you guys watching on video. So I put those back together, and then the weights had been milled down to clear the top of the motor. Now remember, this is still when the motors were sitting up on the frame, not necessarily dropped down into the fuel tank like they are now. And then Proto, of course, took a giant big old weight and put it on top of it. So that's milled down and cut down, and I was able to put a 21-pin decoder buddy on top of that milled weight in here, and then over the rear gear tower, I cut it down a little bit further and put a big old scale sound speaker in it. And so I've got that and put it together, and it sounds fantastic. There was some, a lot of work put into this. I've been working on this one for about 2.5 months, something like that.
A lot of work in it. This has got the 567C, I think, right?
Correct.
It's got the rebuilt so it's got that 4-stack sound kind of like a GP10.
Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and screen record here. So I've got, and of course it's got Blunami, because that's just me. But I did also go ahead and put all the lights in it. So it's got front and rear headlight, of course, and independently controlled. So I can control the independent headlight and backup light, front class lights, and then rear class lights. And remember, in '78 they were all extras, so white is all I need. And then I've got the front number boards lit up and the rear number boards lit up. Now the rear number boards are actually the Proto 2000 light casting. And so took that off, made the decals for the number board, stuck them in.
Decals look great too.
Yeah. And put it together and lightly. I did a little bit heavier than I probably would have liked, quite frankly, on the weathering, but it looks great. But it is 2 years old.
Yeah, it's very convincing.
At that point.
It's just like, it looks like it's been out there on the road. It's not, because Mopac stuff, at least in the 70s, they took pretty good care of it anyway, washed them regularly, so it wouldn't get much dirtier than that.
Yeah.
But that's about right.
Yeah, but remember, 78 is when we think it was painted.
Yeah, and it's white. The white's going to get dirty pretty quick.
Correct.
On an engine, especially these with the Roots blower in them, because they used to just drop crud and stuff down the side of them, and it would catch up here in the screens and then just run down when it rained on it. You just see engines, even
streaking.
Yes. So yeah.
Yeah. So we'll fire it up here real quick, and get it going. But I was actually pretty amazed at how smooth the mechanism was.
Yeah.
But again, take the time, put it together, do it right.
Cleaned it up.
Clean it up. So since I'm on this side, we'll go ahead and go backwards here. So that's speed step 1.
It's impressive.
For an old Proto, that's amazing to me.
Yep.
Well, we're not selling ice cream, so we're going to turn the bell off.
Yep.
But it's, like I said, I'm real happy with the way it turned out, and
It's beautiful.
So we'll bring it to a stop. So we could probably set the brakes. We'll go ahead and bring it forward. And of course, camera 2 just died, so we'll throttle it up, start the... But yeah, I'm pretty happy overall with the way that thing's turned out, so I'm looking forward to getting it turned several miles on the layout now.
Yep.
So, but yeah, it's been, I've enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of fun, a lot of time consuming, but sitting there with, like you were talking about, the Dynacell castings, I got those from CMR, Custom Model Railroad Products, I think it is.
Yep.
And just sanded and filed and cut them to fit. And so that's a combination of 2 different kits put together. Yeah. And then on this side, it's hard to see it, so I'll show you in the screen, in the pictures. But they had this really weird, unique handbrake assembly. And it's right here on the engineer's rear.
Yep.
That I scratch built that.
Right.
And glued it onto the bottom of it. Looking at pictures, I did some research online, put a couple of posts online trying to see if anybody knew exactly what it was and if there was a casting made of it. But it must be unique to the Mopac because they had those Alco AAR trucks
Right.
underneath of them, and so they must have had something different because I don't see that on that thing, whatever it is, that assembly on the side of the Blomberg trucks.
No, it's something for that truck because they think these. I don't remember how many there were, but the first batch of Jeep 18s they got had the trade-in FA2 trucks. These come from Alco FA2s.
Right.
When Jinx took over, Downing B Jinx took over, they started getting rid of everything. He went totally EMD, and those were some of the first engines he got rid of, and he traded them in for these. And that's how he ended up with those cool-looking trucks under them.
Yeah.
Which another railroad that has these kind of trucks is GM&O. But yeah, for Mopac, they also had more GP18s than anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
So, but there's the handbrake casting here on the back, and that's actually the original Proto part.
Yep.
And the fans are Proto.
Yep.
Otherwise, the body shell and stuff like that. And
You got to work over.
yeah, it's like I said, I'm pretty proud of that one.
Beautiful.
So for any of you guys coming out to the St. Louis RPM this summer, that's July 25th and 26th. I think it's at Friday, Saturday. And then also I'll have it at the National Train Show in Chattanooga. So be sure to come out if you guys want to see this thing in person.
Yep.
Come on out, come say hi. Let us know you listen to the podcast, and we'll pull that thing out and show it to you.
Yep.
So, well, with that, I'll go ahead and shut it down for a moment. Let's go ahead and mute it. And I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen record. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about as far as tech tip is wiring management.
Right.
Which is a very relevant thing for this.
Yes.
And wire management, when you're doing your installations, neatness pays off.
It does.
You cannot underestimate how important it is to be neat. I mean, sure, you can throw a whole bunch of wires in there and just tuck it in because it's inside the shell. Who cares? You can't really see it.
Right.
But where it pays off is when I was test fitting all of this, I put the decoder buddy, I laid it on top of the frame there and put the shell on it, and looking through. Now, to be fair, I was looking through the number board holes on the end,
right,
and through the cab end because I couldn't get in there to see.
Right.
But I looked like I had plenty of space to clear the pins.
Right.
And so, but anyway, I went through the normal wire management. I went through and put my string tubing.
Yep.
And this time I had organized it. So on the back, you've got the rear class lights, the rear number boards, and the rear headlight. So each of them had their own set of tubes.
Right.
Rather than putting all the commons together and then mixing them up and everything like that. So each one had its own set of tubes. Well, what ended up happening, we're actually a few days late shooting this podcast because some guy
right.
had wiring issues.
Well, things happen.
And when I put the shell on it, I can't see inside of it.
Right.
When we went to get ready to shoot, I put on the track and suddenly the rear headlight lights up. And I was like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Because I tested this thing before I left the house. But when I went to do one more thing and then put the shell on permanently. And then in that time, that's all it took.
Right.
So I was like, what the heck's going on? So I took it over to my desk and took it apart and looked at it, couldn't find anything, put it back together. Put on the track, now the track's shorting. The layout was shorting,
yeah.
The test track or whatever. And it was shorting. I was like, oh, come on, what is going on? Pop the shell open again, put it together, put it on. Now my rear light didn't work, the front light worked. So I had to open it up one more time, look at it, find it, and then I saw it. There were 3 wires that had a very sharp bend in them, and you can see the silver pointing through of the wire. And so what I think happened was in cramming the wires in, even though I had them organized, those pins of that 21 pin just came up and nicked the wire.
Yep.
And so if it touches in the wrong place, the light lights up. Took it off, put it back together, touched the wrong pin, now it shorts the track.
Right.
So lesson is that always, again, test your space. Test. We did a video about how to use Play-Doh.
Right.
So you know exactly how much space you have inside of there. Go watch that video on YouTube.
Yep.
But in this case, it made it really quick and easy because I've got these. When I do my lights, I've got micro LEDs, the 0402s, and they're glued right behind in the inside of the frame or inside of the shell. I mean, right behind the lens casting, and then I've got the Details West light lenses on them.
Right.
And so when I put those in there, I use microscale crystal clear.
Right.
Which is a great adhesive. Takes a minute or takes a few minutes to set.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
It seals it up in there too.
Seals it up in there, and then I paint over it to make sure you don't see any of the lights coming through the
right.
grills.
No bleed through.
But in this case, because now the lights for the rear headlights were burned out, I could easily peel that off without damaging anything. So if I had used CA to glue those in place, I'd be in there with a chisel blade trying to chisel those out.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a pain in the neck.
Yeah, but the bulbs just peeled out. I fed the wires back out through the unshrunk heat shrink tubing, ran new wires in, glued them in place, put them back together. I think overall it took me collectively about 30 minutes to replace the lights.
Right.
Now, that's not counting drying time because you have to dry the adhesive, the glue. Then you come back and put some paint on it,
right,
and come back and put another coat just to make sure. But really, it was about 30 minutes worth of work to change it out. So wiring pays off.
Right, and having a plan. You had a plan going into
Yep.
it also, how you're going to route it. So
Yep.
when he had to troubleshoot it, it was easy for him to troubleshoot because, and like you said, repair
Mm-hmm.
it because he had a plan and he had already had the infrastructure in there to do a replacement if he had to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So always, check, test, and have a plan. Like I just talked about, unshrunk heat shrink tubing is great conduit, especially if you're using the micro LEDs because the wire's small. But even still, you can get normally at least 2 pieces of wire through the smallest unshrunk heat shrink tubing. Yep. Get a bigger piece and you can put 4 or 6 or whatever. So wire management in this case paid off. Because the other thing I forgot to mention is this also has the truck ground lights.
Right.
And the first time I put it on, I did something really stupid during the assembly and broke one of the micro magnet wires. And so something happened when I was testing it, and suddenly I went to rock the locomotive or something, and suddenly I saw the truck lights flash and then go out. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And again, I had to replace them this time. And those are the Nix Loco lights down here. So they got that nice casting, ran the wire up through there. And again, heat shrink, unshrunk heat shrink tubing, perfectly done. So anyway, so moral of the story is take your time, make sure you pay attention to your wire management and test everything. Make sure you don't run into issues. They happen. Don't panic. You can always fix it. Obviously, if the shell were to melt for whatever reason, that's a whole different story. But luckily, you don't have to worry about that with SoundTraxx decoders.
Right.
But if you have a wire that's out of the place, usually something will just light up automatic without us turning it on or something like that. So good news is it's all fixable. Don't panic. Go back to the workbench and fix it.
And he knew it worked before he put the shell in there, because he did have a tester that tested the lights.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was worried about too, was the decoder being bad. And I did one of the Nix decoder testers, put it on there, and I was able to test. And every one of the lights worked as I had it programmed in the app and on the CVs in the decoder. So matter of minutes, I had it back working again. So
diagnosed, fixed, and then back together.
So, but anyway, it's interesting. One of the local guys here, I took it, showed it to some of the friends when they were all here for the 223, which happened to be when we went to the Bardee Wranglers.
Right.
And we ran into some of the guys at the railroad, and I was like, oh, hey, guys, come here, take a look. And they were like, oh, God. So one of them sent me a text message yesterday. He sent me a picture. He bought the Santa Fe Bicentennial unit now because he liked the way this looks so much. And I said,
you see, it's marketing.
Exactly. There you go.
Yep.
So, well, anyway, that's everything I've got for this episode. You have anything else to add?
No, I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, it's nice to see. Of course, knowing George as long as I have too, and being a Mopac guy, that just makes it just double your fun. But the old school model like this is just really cool to see something like this brought back, because these things, I mean, we don't have there's no model. This is the only way you're going to get this thing. And the scratch building stuff is done on just fantastic. And of course, adding SoundTraxx to it to give it that's the final kick,
push, that
it needed. And it's got it. I mean, it's got that look. Other than Stars and Stripes Forever, I'm thinking maybe a Tom Petty song or something like that, or something 1976. Maybe we mentioned Dawn, maybe Tony Orlando and Dawn.
There you go.
But but that's great. It's excellent job on it, George.
Good, thank you. Had a lot of fun. So anyway, that's everything I've got this week. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close this out. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully this has been fun, entertaining, and if you're listening on audio, go back and watch the video so you can see the pictures of the model we're talking about. And for everybody out there, have a safe and happy 4th of July celebration. Go out and get yourself and go watch fireworks and everything. Get yourself, and just remember, 250 years only happens once.
That's right.
So go out and have a good time. I'll be in Disney World.
Yeah. I'll be in Cortez.
So
listen to Buck Owens or something.
There you go. Sounds good. All right, folks. Thanks for watching, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.